In this week's episode about fake bands, you get a taste in our taste in music. We head into the Barbie zone just a little bit, and we learn about Adam's aunts watching Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny.
Let me tell you, folks, they did not like it. They did not approve of cock push-ups. Hello, and welcome to Halftone Takes, high-contrast conversations where we zoom out to see the bigger picture. I am Adam Bucheri, the frontman for the band Little Hot Takes. Go listen to our debut album, 3% Outraged.
And I am the artist formerly known as Corey Revis.
Very good.
What are we actually talking about today, Adam? What are we actually talking about?
Corey, we're talking about one of my favorite tropes in fiction, which is you're watching something, and then a fake band shows up, and they play a fake song, and I don't know, I just love it. I'm just here for it all the time.
A fake song that's actually a real song because somebody had to write the song.
Well, of
so
course,
it's
the
technically
song is real. Yeah, it becomes real in the process of it, but not a pre-existent, an original song written for it.
Specifically for the media in itself, or just like fake bands, the musical act itself is specific to the medium itself. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
We have already touched on this a little bit in our Goofy movie episode because both of us are mega fans of Powerline.
AKA Michael Jackson, AKA Prince, AKA a little bit of Blackstreet.
AKA the fucking best.
Yeah.
His moves are on point. Ooh.
Yes. Somebody had really a lot of fun animating him. Huge fan of dancing. As if you've listened to any of the previous episodes for animated anything, I love when people animate dancing. Mm-hmm. So Powerline is one of the first examples of me seeing that and being like, ooh, more of this.
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
Of this. Do it. Do this more.
So I think at the top of the episode, I'm going to talk about what we're not talking about. We're not talking about animated musicals where the characters are simply doing dances and singing songs, right? It has to be a fictional band that exists within the fiction of the world.
Yes.
Is what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, which cuts out 90% of Disney because they do that on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what it's about. Nor would it cover something like the musical Chicago, where it's they are performers on a stage, but they're not in a band. They're putting on a show.
Yeah.
That also doesn't count within the purview of this.
Man, Chicago's actually great.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about Chicago.
Because to me, the structure of the band and the members of the band are just as much a part of the appeal as the songs themselves.
It's the persona that usually is endearing. Like Powerline. Powerline just isn't his songs. He's a 100% persona. He's on shirts in the Goofy movie.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Max has a standee. It's kind of awesome. Who has standees anymore in their room?
Yeah, I would love. I mean, I do think it would be very funny to get a cardboard standee of me to have in my own house.
But that could be arranged.
all it would ever be used for would be to put behind a shower and jump scare me.
Yes.
That would be the only function it could possibly serve.
Oh, I got a perfect picture for that actually. We just came out of Thanksgiving. We're a little bit after Thanksgiving. We're kind of in the middle of December right now as of this episode. And I went to go visit Adam and his family and everything up in his hometown.
Yeah, this is our first episode that we're recording since we did Halftone Takes, the YouTube live stream sensation, available on video demand on halftonetakes.youtube.com.
Yes.
Please continue.
Yes, I was just gonna say go watch that because it's
It's
awesome.
pretty. It was
It's
pretty
funny.
fun.
It's actually pretty
Fun.
funny. For the amount of hell we went through to get it working, it was.
For
Watch
real.
that, please. But later on, we went up there. We were just hanging out, like in actual real life, and at our hometown, or not my hometown. It's Adam's hometown.
We visited each other in our respective hometowns.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously, I took some pictures. I'll post some of those on the Instagram. And one of them, you guys can. I want you guys to guess. I'm going to post the one that I want to make a standee of Adam. I want you guys to guess which one it is, but it'll be a surprise. It's gonna be great. But yeah. So anyway, standees of bands and just band paraphernalia and stuff like that.
Merch.
It's merch. That's what people say now.
That genuinely is like a big part of the appeal. Is like not just the bands, but like the design that go around them, right? The aesthetic, the whole the steez that they bring to it,
and sometimes the commentary that comes with it. I can already think of. We're gonna be naming a lot of them. We're gonna kind of go into like just different kinds of ones we brought up. But I can think of one of them that our generation is kind of very familiar with is Chip Skylark.
Oh yeah,
he's a commentary. He's kind of a meta commentary on the music industry, which is actually really funny.
Yeah. Lots of parodies, lots of like exaggerated versions of existing people, but like a lot of original stuff too. Which is gonna kind of segue into like the first question that I'm gonna have for you, which is, let's just talk about the different kinds of fake bands / musical acts that we see in media.
Okay. Are you talking about just like the ones that we came up with or we thought of, or the different genres, like a rap group or like an actual band like with drums? And because I'm thinking of like Gem and the Holograms type thing, which
Hell
is actually,
yeah.
But like that's kind of real. Like a lot of those bands back then they were played by real people. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Josie and the Pussycats is technically real.
I mean,
what about the Monkees?
Well,
Like,
why would the Monkees be?
Because they had a show. You never seen their? I think they had their animated show.
This is kind of the spirit of the question, is just like the different ways that these can come up. So like the obvious one is like, this is a fake band that was created for a movie or for a show. Okay. So your Sex Bob-omb or your Death Clock.
Yeah.
But then there's also ones that like kind of blur that line. So specifically thinking of like the Blues Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think you brought that up like off mic. I didn't even think about that. And I was like, oh, I love that movie. I guess that does count, doesn't it?
Yeah, those are, comedians who are adopting personas and creating a fake band that made real music that you can buy on vinyl.
Yeah.
But, also, like, I've got Death Clock on vinyl. I'm a basic bitch.
Yeah.
I have an album that contains the song I Tampered with the Evidence at the Murder Site of Odin. Which is one of my favorite song titles of all time. That's so fucking funny.
I mean, to be fair, Metalocalypse is like 100% hilarious, and it has no...
Absolutely.
For me, it has no right to be that funny. Because, I didn't necessarily grow up with like, or even really just listen to as I was older, like metal music. It was just a little too hard for me. And I was like, it's nothing wrong with it, but that's a lot. And then I started watching that because I saw a couple of clips. I remember I saw a couple of clips on YouTube years ago. And I was like, this is actually funny. What is this show? And it's Metalocalypse. And I knew about Metalocalypse. It's on Toonami. And I was like, oh, okay. But let me just check it out. And it ended up being one of the funniest shows I've ever seen, because they do not take themselves... Like, I thought this was going to be, like, something crazy. And I'm like, no, this is, like, 100%, like, completely silly. But the music is real.
The music is legit.
yeah, the music is legit. Like, people have told me, it's like, no, they're actually a real band that actually play, like, this is actually metal music. It's not like a parody of metal music. This is metal music right now. I'm like, wow, that's actually impressive. So, and the show is, it helps that the show is actually really funny. So
I love Metalocalypse, which just recently finally was able to conclude after a 13-year break between its
so they concluded their conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. they left it on a cliffhanger for like 13 years, but finally got closure on that, which was fun. But yeah, and I think part of it is that like metal is so well suited to being just straight up goofy because so much of it already is straight up goofy. Like it is, like it does not take itself seriously. And I think that it's better for not taking itself seriously most of the time. I really love that embrace of the dorkiness.
Well, a lot of, I think, it's for that kind of, because I would argue that it is like serious, which is why people can be, it takes actual
metal in general.
Yeah, like it takes a lot of skill to be a metal band. And in that case, you can, like, people that are goofy with it are extra special because it's like, okay, these people actually, like, something like what's that metal band that like does all those silly songs, like 2-Ton Paperweight, which I heard like years ago, which is about just about a guy who has like a bad car. He hates his car. Oh, who does that?
That is Psycho Stick.
Psycho Stick, yeah.
I had
Psycho
to
Stick
look that up, but that is very funny. Yeah.
Yeah, Psycho Stick. Have you ever heard of them?
I have heard them in passing.
Yeah. Psycho Stick is actually really funny.
I feel like, I don't know, it feels like a lot, like more than most genres, like metal is willing to just be like, hey, we're gonna put on face paint and there's gonna be a bunch of fake blood. And someone's like, why? And it's just like, I don't know.
Because it's awesome.
Just seemed fun. Just seemed.
And that is a quote from the show. Because it's awesome.
Because it's awesome. One of my favorite Metalocalypse moments is like they don't want to play. And they're being like real stubborn about it. And the way that they get them out of it is by being like, okay, we're going to let you execute prisoners under the death penalty however you want. And then it's just like, that's awesome. That's really awesome. And then they like launch people from catapults and blow them up with lasers or some shit. And of course it goes wrong. And then
of course. No, duh.
They're morons, and it's amazing, and I love them. I don't condone the death penalty in real life, but you have to understand how pumped these prisoners were in the show to be executed by death clock. They were way into it.
Well, I think that's like one of the big things about it is the entire world is into them like that much.
Impossibly so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously over the top. The entire premise of this band, who is so inept in anything and everything except their music that they play, and people are just enamored where they're like willing to eat cyanide birthday cake, and they're like, nah, I want a piece of that, and everybody's like, yeah, it's awesome,
They are. It's so extreme that it's hilarious. But this isn't the Death Clock show. We're talking about all kinds of fake bands.
Yeah.
So some other goodies that are on our list are like the Old Gods of Asgard from the Remedy games. I think those guys are real dorks, and I love them.
Isn't that just Poets of the Fall?
Yeah, it's the same people.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I'm pretty sure.
I like Poets of the Fall. Like, I actually listened to like their song, I forget what it is, which is not helping my case, but the theme to the first Alan Wake's game. So I was like, oh man, I listened to that on loop, and I forget what it is, but that's great. But then because all I'm thinking about, like, we have a small list here, and I'm looking at it's like Hex Girls, from Scooby-Doo, which
Yeah.
I'm kind of a fan of, but I don't really remember a lot of what they do. But I know that it was like one of the best. It was like of the, I guess, the trilogy of good Scooby-Doo movies. I think it's like
it was the second Scooby-Doo movie that was also pretty okay.
Yeah, it was pretty
okay.
Yeah,
but I personally know several people who were just like, the Hex Girls might have been a part of my sexual awakening. I felt something about the Hex Girls.
I mean, I don't blame them, to be honest. Like, that's...
Yeah, just got some
I don't know
cool
what it was about
chicks.
the 90s. I don't know what it was about the 90s and, like, early 2000s where it just... everything was overloaded. Like, you got the... You know, because now, Gem and the Holograms, because that's another one that I was thinking of. And I was like, wait, that's before us.
Absolutely.
But I remember, like, what is it, Totally Outrageous? Yeah. I remember
Truly Outrageous is the
Truly
theme
Outrageous,
song,
yeah. And I was like, that's actually pretty hilarious and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? Oh, I guess this doesn't count. Because it's technically not... I've seen it animated before, but it's technically in a comic. It's Dazzler, who's...
I'm not familiar with Dazzler.
Dazzler is a part of, like, the X-Men, and she's a mutant that can just create light, like, just, you know, and she's basically her own, like, pop band. So that's what she does. That's her, like, her job. She's just... No, I don't think anybody knows she's a mutant. I don't remember. Because I think she hides it by being a pop star, but she's actually a real pop star. I think she's been animated a couple times, and she actually has, like, a soundtrack type situation. So I think that's what's going on.
I mean, if she's in as far as I'm concerned, if she's in a fake band and that fake band plays songs, then that should count.
It counts. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
like, other things that I was talking about, which, like, blur the line between, like, is this something that exists completely within the fiction? So, like, previously I mentioned the Blues Brothers, but, like, what about, like, the Gorillas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Gorillas is a virtual band with fictional band members, but is a real, like, first and foremost, it's a band. It doesn't exist in any fiction outside of itself. However, the fiction that it has for itself is wild. There is lore to the Gorillas.
On purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, why does Russell have a ghost who plays the drums in the Clint Eastwood? It's like, well, actually, what you have to understand is that Russell was part of a large group. He had a bunch of rapper friends, and they were all tragically shot down in a gang fight, and all of their souls went into Russell. And so he's really got like 30 ghost rappers bouncing around in there up until the events of Plastic Beach. Now, when you get to Plastic Beach, you'll find that Russell grows to 60 feet tall. This is because, and then it just like keeps going.
Oh no. And you think he's like playing, but he's actually kind of not.
No,
because
I know what I'm talking about. This is real.
Because recently in the last couple albums, Russell got exorcised, so he no longer has those in him, but he is, because there's also another thing where he is very fiercely like protective of 2D, and everybody was wondering, why is that a thing? Well, you have to understand that 2D is constantly abused by Murdoch, and
also 2D is the Winter Soldier. She has an activation phrase because she's a government killing machine that was mailed to them somehow.
Yeah.
Also, at one point, Murdoch fucks off and is temporarily replaced with Ace from the Gangrene Gang from the Powerpuff Girls. This is also real. He's in the music video for fucking from
I know
the
what you're
Now.
talking about. Yeah. Oh yeah. The Gorillaz is one of my two favorite bands. One of my two favorite music artists. So
the song is called Humility. If you watch the music video for Humility, you will find Ace from the Powerpuff Girls unnecessarily stabbing a basketball with a switchblade.
That is off of their Humans album, isn't it?
No, it is off of the Now Now.
It's off of the Now Now. Okay,
Yep.
so that's the one after Humans.
Correct. Humans is the one I don't like.
Yeah,
don't love
Humans
that album.
has the least amount of good songs. Usually, 95% of their albums, like, and I'm talking every single one of them, are bangers. But
big agree. It's the weak link in the discography.
It's the weakest out of all. It still has some good ones in it, but it's definitely the power dynamic has shifted.
Yeah.
but Gorillaz is like that is like a blend of everything, in my opinion. That is kind of like, it's kind of a fake band, but not really, but yes, but no, because people follow it like it's a real band.
Yeah,
like follow like each characters, because they kind of exist in our world as well, but not really, because they interact with like people like Snoop Dogg and everything.
Yep.
And it's like, it's always weird. Like their guests artists on the albums always have something to do with the actual story itself, which I think is really funny. So
and each album like tends to have some kind of concept to it.
Yeah. And it usually involves them running away. They're always running away from something. Like
sometimes Bruce Willis.
Like Bruce Willis.
Sometimes it's Bruce Willis with a big old fucking Magnum.
That's awesome
it's
too.
So good.
I love that shit.
Yeah, I love the Gorillaz. The fact that they like exist within the fiction, but it's their own fiction, but then they have expanded it to be like, there's so much there. Like I feel like
did a good job. He did a really good job with just, and I think half of it was him just playing around, but then it just became its own thing.
Totally.
And he's like it's become not necessarily out of his control, but definitely spiraled, and he's just like, I don't know, man, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's like you're building a car as it's driving. Right.
Yeah, basically.
And then the car starts to fly, and you're like, I don't know if I'm controlling this anymore.
Chitty chitty bang bang.
Chitty chitty bang bang.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think those are really interesting. And then also like that brings to mind, if we're gonna talk about them, like things like Daft Punk or Magic Sword.
Yeah.
Which also like,
I completely forgot about Daft Punk, actually. That's like one of the biggest examples that we have.
Yeah.
They have their own persona and like this crazy anime world that, you know, it's the same thing. Like their guest artists like somehow just fit into, you know, like situations and stuff. I remember like when they did like the thing with Pharrell and he really wanted to be like a part of the lore and everything. It was funny. But oh man, I completely forgot about Daft Punk.
Also great.
Yeah.
Magic Sword, I had the pleasure of watching Magic Sword live at one point.
Oh,
and
really?
They had a lot of Daft Punk energy where it's just like, hey, who are the people in the band? Well, you see, there are 3 wizards who descended in order to protect the magic sword. And they came out with like, you know, big weird cult robes and LED masks, and then it was hype as fuck.
You guys don't get it. This is art.
It is art. So yeah, I mean, there's kind of a spectrum between like how fake, how fictional it is versus how real.
I have a question then, because this is kind of a mix of the second like bullet point, which is what makes a good fake band.
Yeah.
All right, so we have those that are always really funny, but does a fake band can also be like a play on a very specific band?
I mean, I certainly think so.
Okay, because what I was thinking, because when you did that whole bit with Magic Sword, that reminded me of F is for Family, where the kids went to a concert. Like, it was kind of a mixed concert. It was literally a band that was supposed to be Leonard Skinner. And then there was another band that was supposed to be, I believe, Pink Floyd. And at that time, like, because it takes place during, I think, the early 70s.
Mhm.
So at that time, Pink Floyd isn't super popular with adults.
Uh-huh.
Like, a lot of kids that were, like, stoned out of their minds are like, no, you guys don't get it. This is awesome. He's like, you all a bunch of dildos. That is definitely from the show. But,
I believe it.
But I think that's really funny because they're both fake bands, but they both represent the real band. Which is like, I forget what the name of the real band of the fake band was that was supposed to represent Leonard Skinner, but it was something stupid. And I was like, this is straight up Leonard Skinner. And the other one, like the one that represented Pink Floyd, they all had like, it was the same thing where they all came out in robes and they all were dressed like wizards. And like they were kind of representing like a D&D kind of thing.
Sure,
but at the same time, they were like, they had like all kinds of like, the merchandise, like for, some like almost like a D&D campaign.
Uh-huh.
Like they had swords and stuff, and they were playing like their keyboard that was that looked like
very fun,
like a not a goblet, but a cauldron and stuff like that. And they're like, and like of course, like the main characters, the kids were in the crowd. They were like, yeah, this is what we came for, yeah. And all the adults were like, this is stupid. Boo. And they're like, you guys don't understand. This is the music of the future. And I was like, this is actually really funny because this is, like I said, the commentary of how music evolves just over time, regardless of like what you like or what you don't like. It's just gonna keep moving forward.
Yeah,
I think it's really
absolutely
funny.
True. It will never stop being funny to me that Led Zeppelin, objectively one of the most popular and successful bands of all time, like consistently has songs where it's just like, so anyways, Gandalf.
Yeah, that makes sense.
that tricksy Gollum was up to some shit. Like they won't stop they won't stop talking about Lord of the Rings.
I mean, there are so many musical artists and bands that are so one note, but people still love them anyway. It is hilarious when you start thinking about them. And then when, a lot of people don't actually see it until like the super tropes I'm talking about, until they're like actually played on parody. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I never realized how much we were all crazy about NSYNC. Because then, you get stuff like Four Town, which
love Four Town.
But Four Town is from.
Sorry, we should clarify which. Four Town is from the movie Turning Red.
Yeah, which is a very good movie, by the way.
I like it a
very
lot.
like downplayed movie, but still very good. It takes place in 2003, I believe. Is it 2003 or 2004?
Yeah, it's like 2004, 2003.
Yeah. And the main character is in, I believe, 7th grade. And in 2000, no, she's not in 7th grade.
Stop being accurate. She's around that. Yeah,
because I know 100% that we are 1 year older than her.
Yeah.
In the current time period. I remember this because me and my wife, we were talking about this and we're like, this is the greatest thing ever because I for one, and this is related, I'm going somewhere with this, but I was interested because I'm a guy and I had different, obviously, tastes when I was that age. But this is about like girls and a girl pack when they're that age. And so I looked to my wife and I said, were y'all that crazy and acted like that when like you guys would get like so like enamored by like these bands and stuff? She's like, absolutely 100%.
Oh yeah.
All the poses that they're doing, how they talk to each other, how like, that's all of us. That's how I was. That's how we all were. And I was like, wow. So this is accurate. She's like, this is stupid. This is stupidly embarrassingly accurate.
I mean, I remember high school talent shows where groups would come on and do like Bye Bye Bye. Bye 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 was big.
Oh, no, I remember when Britney was big and I heard, this might this might hurt some of our viewers. I remember hearing, because the same thing with the talent show stuff. 50, I'm not kidding, half of the talent show was Lucky by Britney Spears. Do you remember that? Like,
I'm blessed that I don't think that I ever had repeats, because the idea of being at a high school talent show and watching multiple people do the same musical number, that's poison.
Oh, it happened a lot.
I'm sorry, we're talking about Britney Spears. That's toxic.
Yeah, that's a good song. It's like, that's one of her best songs.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. But that's just a testament to how good, which is weird, because guess who made, guess who was involved with that soundtrack for Turning Red?
I will not guess.
No, yeah, it was, what's her name? Who's very popular, she's very young. It was her and her brother. It was, who sings the bad guy?
Oh, Billie Eilish?
Yeah, it's Billie Eilish and her brother, I'm pretty sure, who made that entire soundtrack. And
really, for Turning Red?
Yeah. Well, not. I don't think the entire soundtrack, but I know they did a lot of. They did like basically Four Town, all of their stuff.
That's impressive.
And I looked at them and I said, "How dare you?" Also, thank you.
Billie Eilish seemingly is everywhere. Just did something for the Barbie movie, which was real big.
Yeah, which I keep hearing everywhere now. I still have yet to see that. I'm gonna see that because now it's on.
Oh, you gotta see Barbie, man! It's so good.
Yeah, I know. I keep hearing that it's good. And it's on streaming now, so I can definitely watch it on like HBO Max. And I'm gonna be like, okay, now I can watch this. So I do plan on watching it.
If you go on and watch a couple of smooth, hairless, buff dudes beat each other off, then you're gonna have a great time.
Oh, I hear that the breakout star is what's his name, who's also in Scott Pilgrim.
Michael Cera?
Yeah, Michael Cera. I hear
he's very funny.
Like,
yeah,
I hear he's like one of the best parts of that movie, though. I hear that movie is like I don't want to make this the Barbie episode, but I hear that movie is actually legit on all accounts. Like, people aren't just saying, "Oh, this is funny because, it's very like satirical and it's very like all this kind of stuff." No, it's on all levels. It's really funny. She hit like a really big sweet spot, or not like a small sweet spot on just comedy on every level, and at the same time has the biggest heart. That's like, how did you do this?
It's a movie with a perspective and with something to say that is also genuinely hilarious.
And a good time for everybody, because that's what I keep hearing. It's a good time for everybody. And it's just amazing that Mattel's like, no, go ahead and do it. Just
and that's
you can
the
make
thing,
fun of us.
is that like Greta Gerwig was able to negotiate a really phenomenal amount of creative freedom with it.
Yeah.
Really impressive. I talk about it all the time in conversation with the Lego Movie. And I think that that's a really fair comparison for just like, oh, it's a fun thing for the kids. And it's like, actually, this movie has a lot going on in it, and it's got a ton of heart. So
yeah, it's amazing that
it also Will Ferrell is here.
Yeah, it's amazing that Miller and Lord weren't involved in this at all. They weren't, and yet they hit the same chord. It's amazing. It makes me think though. Like I said, I don't want this to go. I want this to stick to the thing, but it does make me think. My really quick aside for this is, I really hope that how Miller and Lord can do a lot of stuff with like fathers and sons stories, almost. I hope they can I hope Greta Gerwig can Greta Gerwig? Yeah. Can kind of.
I think it's Gerwig, but I'm not 100%.
I was like, it's not Gerwig. That doesn't make any sense. I hope she can kind of do that with like a trend that she has. Like maybe it's like because she's already done Little Women, which I hear is really good too.
It is.
But I hope she can do that with like mothers and daughters or something like that. Not saying that she has to be boxed in, because obviously they're not boxed in.
But like the fact that like the biggest movie of the year was directed by a woman and has a very strong female perspective.
Well, it's made. I think it's made like it kind of has that Black Panther effect of 99% of the production team is women too. So
yeah, a lot of female production, which is
good. I mean, because then they're like, we're telling a story for us. If everybody else has a good time with it, that's great. But this is a story for, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do that. Because I felt the same way about Black Panther. So I was like, yeah. And anything else, it's good. But anyway, not the Barbie episode. This is about fake bands in Fort Town and how they that whole soundtrack captured my heart and sent me back to the middle school / like beginning of high school, because I was like, this is actually good music. Like, I know they're like being authentic. Really funny about it. Yeah. I know they're really funny about it, but this is actually good because I've listened to this soundtrack while riding in my car, unironically, and I'm like, yeah, this is actually good.
For sure. And like, there are other fake boy band things I specifically thinking of just from YouTube. Brian David Gilbert has Two Twins 2. Which is
that's what that is. Okay, because I've heard that, but I don't know. I didn't know what that was. So
it's a boy band that is 4 Brian David Gilberts wearing different wigs.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah, it's very funny. And then also Kevin Temertunes, YouTube animator / songwriter, made The Trash Bins and their hit single "Delete This Tweet," which is very funny. But both
never heard of it, but sounds funny.
Oh, it's very funny. But both of them are much more sincere, like parodies, right? Like they're riffing on it, they're goofing on it. Fort Town isn't a parody; it's just a boy band. It's just the real thing.
It's a legit boy band.
Yeah, like, there's no jokes
each one of them. Each one of them have personalities. There's the young one. There's the the rebellious one. There's the rebellious one. There's the black one, which I think is really funny. And there's the main one who's like the main heartthrob. He's the Justin Timberlake of the bunch. There's the older one. Didn't they have like an older one? Like,
I don't remember the exact archetypes, but like, really I love that like weird boy band compartmentalization where it's just like, oh, we have the Spice Girls and they are, these perfect flavors of, different, whatever you're after. If you want, naughty spice, then you've got someone who's good.
Was Naughty Spice one of them?
Pervert spice, whatever. I don't remember.
Oh, stop. You're disrespecting the franchise.
There's one who's like spicy spice.
There's sporty spice. There's sporty spice. There's
I'm not trying to be shitty and dismissive. I just literally never learned them. I know there's baby spice.
All I know is sporty spice. Yeah. And then you said baby spice. I'm like, okay, that's 2.
There's like a scary spice or something of the sort.
Yeah, scary spice. Yeah, scary spice.
There we go. That's who I was referring to.
Yeah, just start saying words. I'll get it. I'll get it eventually.
But the point is, it's like a Powerpuff Girls, where it's just like, if you're too cool for this, well, there's Buttercup for you. And if you like the cute girly stuff, then you've got Bubbles. And if you want someone who gets to embrace their femininity but still be kind of serious, then you get Blossom. And she's great. But like those like weird archetypes is very funny of that area.
Hey, that leads into another one that I just thought of.
Ooh.
You know this one, the Beat-Alls.
The Beat-Alls. I don't know if they count because I don't think they actually have any songs.
I think they do. I think they have like 1 or 2 songs in the episode.
That's great then.
But then I think they break up because of Yoko.
Yeah. For context, there's an episode of the Powerpuff Girls where a group of villains decides to band together in order to defeat the Powerpuff Girls, and so they form the Beat-Alls. And it turns into just this weird Beatles parody that is very
so
funny, actually.
It's actually
what
really
a good
funny.
show. Underrated show.
Man.
I don't know. Is it underrated? It's appropriately rated. People love it.
I don't think it's... Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's underrated. I think everybody 100% is like, nah, this show is like one of the best of the best. That is like prime time Cartoon Network. So,
yeah.
You know. But, yeah, there's so... let's switch a little bit of gears for a second. I want to go to live action stuff.
Sure.
And because I looked at Sex Bob-omb and I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny, because not only is it funny, and their band is literally the main characters of the series, the movie, the wherever you're coming from, the movie, the manga, or the new animated like show or something like that. They're all the main characters. But their music is still legit. One of the best openings to a movie is them doing their opening song.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
Being in Edgar Wright going crazy with the directing of the opening song, and I was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
And and it's funny, and I think it's really funny too, is because one of the other characters, Knives Show, acknowledges that it's really good.
Right. Like in the fiction, everyone is like, this sucks. But like,
oh my God.
Your music
I think it's really funny. I think it's good.
Amazing.
So, yeah, that's what she said. Amazing.
Yeah, I love that so much. And as we're recording this, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off has just come out. Which is very good.
I have not seen it yet. I want to see it.
It's worth your time. They have new Sex Bob-omb songs, but I think that they're adapting the ones that were actually in the comic.
Okay.
And as a result, it's more straightforwardly they're okay. The ones in the movie are like sublime, transcendental garbage music to me. I'm not going to cut in Garbage Truck because I've already cut in Garbage Truck in a previous episode. But I love Garbage Truck so much. That song sucks. It rules. I'm in love with it. Sex Bob-omb to me can't miss. Every song by them is so fun and also like captures the garage aesthetic, which is very specific. And there's not a lot of things that you can find that like have that sound, despite how common that sound is in the real world.
Yeah, I think it helps that is very specific to the story too. So I think it helps that because they're supposed to be like a grungy like garage band that is like can't play at normal bands, and I mean can't play at normal venues, so they play at like birthday parties type situation and stuff, but still be pretty good though. Be good enough that they can do that and do it well, but bad enough that they're like, they get picked on a lot.
Which is very funny to me. One of my favorite moments from the movie, which is absolutely wall to wall packed with my favorite moments in movies. I love that movie so much. But they're trying to have a serious conversation, and then out of nowhere, Scott's just like, "Hey, check it out! I learned how to play the bass riff from Final Fantasy IV."
Oh, that whole thing, because that leads into like the next like Evil X, because that's how I don't want to explain the whole movie, but
we've got two fake bands.
You'll get it.
But the second fake band is just Metric, which is one of my other favorite bands, and you should just regular listen to Metric.
Oh, that's one of Autumn's favorite bands. My wife Autumn, she loves Metric.
I love Metric,
but Metric's good. Metric's good to me.
Very good.
But I love that. It's like just everybody's so serious.
Yeah.
Everybody's so serious, but not serious at all in that movie, and it makes me laugh.
Here's another one that we touched on in a previous episode. They don't have a name, and also they don't have lyrics because that's not the nature of how it works. But Night in the Woods, Mae Borowski is in a band, and you get to play a number of their songs. And let me tell you, Die Anywhere Else is legit. That is such a good fake band song. I love Die Anywhere Else.
Okay, I'm going to 100% tell you, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember any of those songs because I was too busy trying to concentrate, trying to finish the mini game. So I was like, I believe you. I 100% believe you that they're good songs, but I was like, this is actually hard. Like, I only get one chance to do this, so I can't even practice it.
I know, and then everyone's mean to you.
Yeah, and it's funny. I always thought it was funny because they, like, May, the main character, would acknowledge this. I have never heard this song. Play it anyway. But come on,
everyone's
guys.
just like, that was terrible. It's like, I can't emphasize enough that I've literally never heard this song.
Yeah. I think that is.
This is not my first time playing this song. This is my first time hearing this song.
Yeah. And I was like, guys, why would you do this? But I think that's really funny and charming too, though. Yeah. But that's a part of the lore too. Like, they weave it in. It's like, I've never heard this. Because the player has never heard this.
Yeah. So that band, which does not have a name, to my knowledge.
Yeah. No, it does not.
If you go listen to the songs, they're like, chiptune MIDI versions of it with like one of the I don't know, chiptune lines acting like a vocal. But what that means is that if you go to YouTube, there's just tons and tons and tons of covers of it, of people taking it and doing it for real, which is super fun.
And it happens like a lot when it comes to like fake bands and how they get just redone for real. Like, not just like fake bands, just fake music artists and stuff like that. I've heard people like legit sing Icky Vicky like for real, like off of Chip Skylark. And I've heard even more people sing My Shiny Teeth and Me. Yeah. Because that's a all-time legit banger. Song. That is really good. The lyrics are actually like, it's very lyrically impressive. I was like, okay.
a lot of these fake bands like will get like some of the steez, but they won't get like the cadence and the rhythm and the flow. And Shiny Teeth and Me that's for real. That gets it. It knows what's up.
Yeah, it's oh man, I'm trying to think of other ones, but like what do we oh, well, you did go to like kind of like parodies upon parodies of fake bands like Spinal Tap.
Absolutely.
And like Dewey Cox and that man. How would you define those?
I haven't seen the movie, but Pop Star with
I was about to say like with what's his name? From
Andy Samberg.
Brooklyn, Andy Samberg, who also has Lonely Island.
Yep.
And that's a real
Lonely
band,
Island
but fake?
Lonely Island is a real comedy band.
Okay.
It's like Flight of the Conchords,
Okay. Because I know, was it them that did...
But Flight of the Conchords has a show with its own lore. So, I don't know. Does that count a little? Maybe
I was about to say, also, like, Justin Timberlake and I think, was it Andy Samberg or was it somebody else who did Dick in a Box?
Yeah, the Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, but they have their own lore too.
Yeah, there's more than one song that they've done, so I feel like you gotta let that count if we're putting it into the conversation.
That's what I started thinking about. I was like, how does this work? I mean, it's working, but that's really funny. So, I didn't even think about Fly the Conchords either. That they have their own show with their own stuff going on. So, yeah, I think they have a movie.
Not that I was aware of.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I thought there was like a Flight of the Conchords actual movie. It came out like years ago. but I could be mistaken.
It looks like you are correct. Flight of the
Okay.
Conchords, a Texan Odyssey from
Yeah.
2006.
2006, yeah. I think I saw that somewhere, but
Fun.
yeah.
Also, I didn't bring it up, but one of my favorite Lord of the Rings facts, so looping back to the previous Lord of the Rings episode, is this is like, a fun fact that people have heard of. But one of the members of Flight of the Conchords, you've got Jermaine Clement, and then you've got Brett McKenzie. And Brett, like everyone in New Zealand, was in the Lord of the Rings, just by virtue of being in New Zealand, basically. And for his appearance, he was so distractingly attractive that the fan base gave him the name Figwit, which is an acronym for, Frodo's great. Who is that?
What?
Figwit is an acronym, so FIGWIT, for Frodo is great, but who is that?
Oh, I thought you were asking me an actual legitimate question.
No, that's the acronym for his name.
I thought you just stopped and said, okay. I thought you just stopped and said, who is that?
Who's that? Corey?
I was like, wait.
Answer the question, Corey.
I was about to say, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what to answer.
The answer is it's Brett McKenzie, one half of Flight of the Conchords, New Zealand's fourth most famous comedy musical duo, right behind Like of the Conchords, which is actually a cover band of Flight of the Conchords.
Wow. All right. I'm assuming that's lore, but I have no idea if you're being serious.
It's a bit they do at their concerts, yeah.
Okay, I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah.
Maybe that's just like part of the scope of this episode. Is like I just love bands that have fake lore or like fake characters or personas that they adopt as part of their shows. Fuck, that means I gotta mention Hannah Montana. Hannah Montana is in this list.
I
don't know anything about Hannah Montana. I have no feelings for her one way or the other. Anyways.
I mean, I was going to say, you don't like, you don't have to be like that way about her. Like, damn it, I gotta mention Hannah Montana. I'm like, damn it.
No, it's just like, the damn it was more like, this is a blind spot and I have nothing to say about it. But like, I'm aware of the existence of a Hannah Montana.
Not gonna lie, being honest, I did watch the show when it was on. The show was mildly entertaining, actually, but not because of her. It's because of everybody else. So
I believe it.
But then you would have to. But then, like, if we're going that route, then doesn't like something like Lemonade Mouth count?
I have no idea what Lemonade Mouth is.
Okay, that is another band on Disney Channel. It's like Disney Channel original movie stuff. There's a band called, I think, Lemonade Mouth. I think there's a band in Camp Rock. There's a couple of them, actually.
I'll allow those to count if you let me get in Protozoa from Xenon Girl of the 21st Century.
Yeah, Protozoa 100% counts.
Thank you, Protozoa, for your service. Zoom,
Thank you for
zoom.
the gift that keeps on giving.
Zetus Lapidus.
Protozoa was like, I remember watching that. And I'm like, this guy is awesome. Like, actually, like, punk awesome. I'm like, no wonder these kids love it. Which, like, we were in that age group, so we were like, this is cool. He helped save the world. Like, with his music.
Save the world.
Yeah.
From a computer virus or some shit. I don't remember. Aliens are involved at some point. I don't give a fuck. Don't explain the lore to me.
No, let me explain the lore to you.
Do not at me. I do not want to be added about Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century lore.
It sounds like you do.
But yeah, you briefly touched on Spinal Tap as well. And I feel like, it would be criminal not to mention Spinal Tap in some capacity. Corey, have you seen that?
I saw it a long time ago. I saw it when we were in college, and it was funny, but I barely remember. I remember certain things, like certain scenes, but I don't remember the plot of that whole thing. I think it was just like a faux documentary, of them just being goofy. Yeah. Because I remember a lot of falling.
Yeah, there's a lot of it's a dumb movie.
Yeah, it's like
Parentheses affectionate,
yeah.
beyond the, this one goes up to 11, which is like the
Yeah.
cultural meme that has persisted. It's just a genuinely very funny send up of like that kind of music act
Mhm.
in a way that is sincere, which feels like it feels like a very logical predecessor to Metalocalypse. Like, I don't know if
Mhm.
Metalocalypse would have existed without Spinal Tap.
Maybe. Actually, that's a good point. Maybe.
But yeah, that movie's very funny. The music is legit, and
Mhm.
the personalities of the band get to really shine in a way that's very fun.
Yeah. Um, I wrote another one of the live action things, Tenacious D, which is kind of the same way.
Uh-huh.
Um, I know it's an acquired taste. Um, that's why I kind of bring it up, because just because you're a fake band, and I guess this is one of those where it's like, okay, maybe a lot of people don't like this type of music because they are legit,
Why
but
are
at
you
the same
qualifying it? Tenacious D is very popular.
no, well, here's the thing. The reason why I say that is because a lot of people, um, because I've heard people like give criticism and say, I don't actually like them. I love Jack Black, but I don't like them singing as a band. And I'm like, huh, okay. Even though like that's kind of like a whole lore of wrapped up in the thing, and people really don't like their movie. Um,
The movie's pretty bad.
yeah,
Here's my story about the movie. Quick aside.
okay.
Um, in my youth, it was a family tradition for all of the aunts and uncles to get together and to watch a movie on Thanksgiving. And for some reason, I was allowed to weigh in on the voting process, and I said we should watch the Tenacious D movie. Tenacious D, the Pick of Destiny.
Pick of Destiny. Yep.
Now, when we got to the movie theater, it was rated R, and I was too young to. I was like I must have been like 17 or something.
Okay.
And for some reason, my prudish aunts did not want me to be able to attend an R-rated movie. And so they made me watch a different movie while only the adults went and watched Tenacious D.
So they pushed you into another one?
And then they willingly walked into the booby trap. And then they were like, I didn't like it very much. And I'm like, you think?
No kidding. What movie did you go see? What movie
God,
did they
I
make
can't
you
even
see?
remember. I bet I could look it up just by like what was in theater at the same time.
Okay, that would be really interesting. I am invested. I want to know.
So, and for the record, Tenacious D is a real band that puts out real albums, but they had a show and they had a movie and they have created a mythology around fictionalized versions of themselves, which is genuinely pretty fun.
Yeah, which is why I kind of because I wouldn't count them as a fake band,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely count them in that wheelhouse of they have lore surrounding them as a like almost kind of as a real music artist like The Weeknd.
Sure.
He has his own kind of music persona, like who goes through like an entire arc, which is weird, but I was like, you know what? Good on him for following through because he showed up to award shows and everything in character. Like I was like, oh okay.
That's fun. I'm not sure if I was aware of that.
Oh yeah, like he went full on like just like he was playing a character that was just I guess a horrible person and was trying to just oh man, what was he trying to like stop being a horrible person, but he kept just getting back into like making people mad, like upsetting his girl and getting beat up and all this kind of stuff and and he's so like his character I think at one point just said, whatever, I'll just be who I am. I'm just the horrible person I am type thing. Like he was in character for a while.
Interesting.
And yeah, and some people I guess like okay, that's a little too much. But hey, there are plenty of people that have done that. Like we talk about people that are in character a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of hip hop artists that are like in
Oh,
character,
sure.
and yet outside of their music, they are like, like
I mean, that almost borders
master's degree people.
that almost borders on kayfabe, though, where like they're trying to maintain the illusion even outside of the stage presence, right?
Yeah. Oh, I guess.
I don't know if we need to define kayfabe, but kayfabe is the idea of like the persona persists outside of. It's most commonly associated with wrestlers, and so it's like, oh, Triple H hates Goldberg, and anytime you see Goldberg like walking around and he's at the mall or something, someone goes up and like, oh my God, Goldberg, what do you think about Triple H? He'll be like, oh, I fucking hate Triple H. He's outside of the job.
Yeah.
But
he's
the character and the illusion persists.
Yeah. So what do you think the line for that is? For like artists that create like artists, but at the same time we know that they're not them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because then it would be kind of like Gorillaz, but Gorillaz isn't the same either, because Gorillaz is strictly the music comes from like two guys.
Yeah.
But like the persona is like four people that are completely different, but they still play the same instruments, and it's still like like Russell doesn't play multiple things. He strictly plays the drums, and 2D is the vocals, and Murdoch is the bass, and Noodle is just every female voice ever.
She will get the cool shoe shine.
Yeah, and also she aged like 20 years in like 3. So like I think that's really funny. So
yeah, I don't know. Like it is a hazy line, because like I think of someone like Lana Del Rey, who like within the songs has a fictionalized version of herself who just like keeps making these mistakes with these abusive relationships. But I don't think they're autobiographical. I think they are like a fictionalized version of her.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, and that stuff is really interesting. I guess I think that the ultimate thesis of this is just like, add lore to your band and I'm going to be kind of into it. I just like adding a layer of fiction and story. It's storytelling. I just like storytelling. Tell me a story.
Tell me a story. Tell me a story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have something that for you then. What kind of fake bands or musical artists do you not like? Because I can already think of one of them that was like really bad, that people are like, I can't believe this. But let me just hear what you can come up with.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's any that I would explicitly like outright dislike. There are some where I'm just like, this is okay. I'm not crazy about these songs. Or maybe like there is a band here, but it doesn't have a strong identity. If it's something that kind of fades into the background, then like,
or if it just might not be your type of music either.
Yeah.
It's just like,
But even so, like, I feel like fake bands are a really great gateway to kinds of music that you wouldn't normally enjoy. Like you talking about Metalocalypse. Like if you are able to give me a reason to care about things other than just the music, then I'm much more likely to like vibe with the music, because I'm already here for William Murderface.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I could think of, like, if we're talking about, like, the persona, like, they're, like, a different type of universe outside of themselves, of the actual artist. Like, Childish Gambino is another one of those guys who...
sure.
Like, his albums do tell a story of him, but in a different kind of setting and all kinds of stuff like that. Like, I think Camp is famous for that, or Because the Internet is really famous for that. So I think, because I think of a lot of them, but going back to the question I asked you, one of them, and I don't even know what this was parodying, or whatever. But I remember distinctly going to see the Harry Potter movie. What is it? The fourth one, where they have the winners ball.
Yep.
And then there was the wizard like
yeah,
rock
that one
band
sucks ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't remember what it is in the fiction. It's like the Weird Sisters or something like that.
Yeah, the Weird Sisters or something.
And they sing a song which is like, if I asked ChatGPT to write a song about wizards, this is what it would come up with. It's just like,
shake your head like a crazy elf.
Shut the fuck up. I hate you. You can't just put the word elf in your song and now it's a wizard song.
Don't look at me, man.
Clown shit.
Like, hey, I was the one back then who was like, doesn't anybody have a Walkman? And two, you're not allowed to listen to music outside the, like, you know, I was like, oh man, I saw like, Dean. Yeah, the black character, one of the black characters, like one of the main ones who was dating Ginny. But I was like, oh, you know what he's listening to. 50 Cent was alive and well back then.
You're listening to 50 Cent on Wizard Radio. It's not regular radio, because regular radio doesn't work in Hogwarts. Coming up next.
Coming up next. 14 cent. 49 cent.
20 galleons.
Yeah, I know. The rate of exchange, I don't know. What would be the rate of exchange in gold?
Oh, no. Fuck it. Who cares?
I care. This is important. This is important to the lore. We have to be serious about this stuff.
I don't have to be serious about Harry Potter lore. Harry Potter lore doesn't take itself seriously, and I'm not going to do more work than it is going to. So, anyways.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've more or less covered the last question, which was just what are some of your favorites. Let's loop back around to the second question, because I feel like now that we've gotten some of this out of our system, we're better equipped for it. What makes a good fake band to you?
To me, I think first and foremost, like if I'm gonna be honest, it has to be music that I'm into.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to. I think that like a fake band or music or something like that, or artist that has like a different persona or something. It has to be saying something. It doesn't have to be saying something super deep. But it has to be saying something. Like you said, with like, it has to be tell me a story. I'm kind of like that too. I do like that, which is why I like Gorillaz, which is why I like Kid Cudi. He is one of my all-time favorites. He tells a lot of stories, and he still has his Moon Man persona, which is going to be a comic soon. And I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Yes, keep going. Let's go. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm a big proponent of storytelling too. It does, like I said, it doesn't have to be something super deep, because then we're getting into like something that you used to listen to on loop when we were, back in college.
I'm gonna get fucking roasted right now. I don't even know what he's talking about, and I'm scared.
The Decemberists.
Yeah,
like you would listen
I like
to that stuff
December.
you would listen to that on loop, and I'm like, oh. I don't like how these guys sound. I don't care what they're singing about.
As far as like storytelling and songs, it's hard to beat the Mariner's Revenge. That's great.
That's what you always say.
Good stuff. I just like it.
I don't like the sound of the guys.
Story sea shanty with your weird voices.
Oh, their voices are so weird.
They're weird voices.
It's
in the Smashing Pumpkins area of not good, but kind of into it.
You know what? That is a good point. Is because I do like Smashing Pumpkins, but a lot of people have said that about them. I don't like how the guy sounds,
and I just don't fair.
Like this.
You'll have to justify why. Not you, just people in general. People in general, you don't have to justify why you do or don't vibe with something. Sometimes something is just like, this doesn't sound good to me. I don't like this.
But yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily a roast on you, because My wife loves the Decemberists too. I just don't.
I thought you were going to blast me for like, you wouldn't stop listening to Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which...
No, I like Trans-Siberian Orchestra though.
I listened to it a lot.
You know how many times I went to go see them live?
Man, I wish I got to see them live.
You've never seen them live?
I know, right?
They come to Pittsburgh every year.
Not in
and
Pittsburgh.
I've seen them like 4 times.
They put on a good show.
Man.
Put on a good show.
Yeah, they do put it. They're entertaining. They're entertaining as hell. But yeah, like I would roast you for that because I'm like, yeah, I like that. We'd roast each other. I would set myself on fire.
Beethoven's Last Night, their best album.
Okay.
This is good.
I mean, I think it's primetime Christmas music, but
they got some good Christmas bops. But
yeah, Wizards in Winter is like
it's unassailable, no doubt.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, but we're just saying the same thing of we like Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That's basically what we're saying. So
it's good music for dorks, which I am.
I mean, which I am too. I mean, we're all just different dorks in different ways. But what makes I mean, going back, I know like it has to tell a story. It doesn't have to be a deep story, but it has to be a story that I want to hear.
The story could just like be a joke, right? It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah. But like I think a lot of the time I have to like the music though. Because I will 100% agree what makes a good, like we're talking good band to me. To me personally, and I say a lot of it has to do, they could be very good at multiple things, but you know, I would buy an album if they actually had it, and that's usually what I go to when I buy an album. If they actually had it, which some of these things actually do,
some of these things I have done that.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, if I would, then I like it, then it's good to me. If I don't, it doesn't mean it's not good, but it's not good to me.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's very you know, because I'm not. For example, like if going back to something like the Beat-Alls.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of the Beatles. I know, like that's almost sacrilegious. Like how could you not like the? I'm like, it's all right. But so if they came out with something, I know that they would be huge. Like it would be good, like straight up good. But I probably wouldn't be into it. So
what are we talking about? If the Beatles came up with a song, or if they did a song in the style of the Beatles?
It was a song in the style of it. Yeah. So because a lot of these are emulating other things, or just a specific genre. Like I know it's great because this is another controversial thing. As great as Sex Bob-omb is, I probably would listen to them on loop. But you know who would? Somebody who is who was a grunge girl. My wife would listen to that on loop. She grew up in grunge, like straight up, had the hair over the eyes and everything, the dark makeup and stuff, like the ripped flannel and everything like that. Always listening to what you call it? What's his name? I don't remember. Like the guy who did who's in the name escapes me. I'm completely blank. And he's like
Nirvana?
Yes.
Oh
like
my god.
The grandfather of
Oh, what are we gonna do with you?
I went completely blank. That just goes to show you that I didn't listen to a lot of that as a kid.
Yeah.
It's not etched in my head, like as some other things would be. So
yeah, that's true. I also didn't grow up with Nirvana in the same way. I just kind of miss them for no particular reason. But I've since gone back and listened. And it's like I like a lot of this. Yeah.
Same. Like I listened to it, I'm like, this is good.
Yeah. In the same way that like I didn't really like listen to Eminem or like the Beastie Boys until I
Oh,
was
really?
way older.
And that was me. I did listen to them when I was a kid, so I completely get it. But you never know. But that just goes back to show you, it's like you never know what you'll actually like.
Yeah,
When it comes
absolutely.
down to it. Yeah, it's like I think the whole conversation in this episode is you might be surprised if you end up having a good time with a fake band. Maybe you should check out a couple of the stuff that it's representing. You
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
surprised.
They
You
can be
might be
good
like, you know what?
gateways.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? This actually isn't bad. Like even I mean, I don't necessarily know any examples
Hmm.
off the top of my head, but even something like Hannah Montana, which if you
Sure.
listen to some of the other songs that are actually pretty good, like country music, you might be surprised and say, you know what? What is this really representing? And at that time it was representing like Taylor Swift, but then she like got out of that and it got complicated.
I
So
mean,
I don't know where I was going with this.
yeah, like a lot of those Disney Channel kids went on to become real, music stars, pop stars. It helps if your dad is Billy Ray Cyrus to begin with. So
I know. Which he played that his achy breaky heart song out in that show on purpose. Every single like time he could bring it up, he would. And everybody groaned in and out of in and out of the screen. But yeah, like I always when I going back to that like any like that type of scenario of just recommendations, not necessarily recommendations, but just seeing, oh, I might actually be into this. When people go with hip hop, like they're like, oh, I'm not a big fan of hip hop. I'm like, have you listened to Kid Cudi? Kid
sure,
Cudi
but
is
that's like
something.
you giving like a real
Yeah,
music which, first of all,
yeah,
Kid Cudi is excellent, and you should listen to him. But
yeah,
but that's like a regular recommendation rather than
yeah,
like my gateway into this was me listening to the soundtrack to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like that's more
yeah.
like the gateway that we're talking
That
about.
is very true. But I mean, if you want a gateway like that, then go play Def Jam. Go play Def
Sure.
Jam Fight for New York. You'll get a lot of good hip hop out of that.
Go play if you missed like classic rock stuff, go play some Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah. Oh
You'll
man. Oh yeah.
Sweet
Guitar
Child of
Hero.
Mine is not my favorite song in the world, but god damn, is that riff so fucking fun to
I
play?
mean,
Oh, I love playing it with my fingers.
you know what's funny is that's where if you think back to that time, did anybody know like any regular old person know who Dragon Force was until Guitar Hero?
Dragon Force unquestionably, not even Dragon Force, Guitar Hero unquestionably led to such a popularization of like that kind of speed metal, power metal kind
Mhm.
of thing. I question if we would have like the soundtrack to Metal Gear Rising if it weren't for
Yeah, that's true.
if Dragon Force didn't end up on the Guitar Hero. I knew Dragon Force beforehand because I was like, this is goober music. These are dorks singing it in exactly the same way that Led Zeppelin is singing about fucking Gollum and ring wraiths.
Yeah.
These guys are just singing about having the heart of a
Dragons.
dragon and
Yeah.
fighting with gleaming swords, and it's dorky, and I think it's funny more than anything else.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh man, because if you think about that, there's a lot of like real music artists, and to me that is a sign of kind of a sign of skill and talent
mhm.
of when you can be like serious with your art but also be super silly. When I'm thinking of Eminem, is he there's a reason why he's considered the best, and that is actually financially he is the best. It is on record. And I'm not kidding. Like he is the highest earning, highest selling, most popular hip hop artist of all time. Like at least financially, and that is amazing to me. But he has the chops to back it up. And I think part of it is because he can be 100% stupid with his raps and still be good. And then there's Stan. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that, just money is a measure of anything
no,
other than popularity, but like...
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's a reason, like that's, I think, a big reason why he is kind of considered that. But he also has like the chops to back it up. Like he's one of the greatest freestylers ever. He
is ridiculously talented. I think something underrated about Eminem is his sense of humor and is willing to like self-deprecate. That is
especially nowadays when he's like just kind of an old guy. He's got one of the old heads.
He's got huge dad energy all the time.
Oh yeah.
And it's very funny. And then he's gonna make a rap song about Venom. So, well, sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, like he appears in everything now. Like what video game? I think he was in Fortnite.
He just had a major concert thing.
Yeah, concert at Fortnite. I thought that was so funny. I was like, why?
I weirdly have to look into Fortnite for my job. And I was like, I bet that would have been fun. I would have liked to have gotten to see the Fortnite Eminem concert when it was live.
You know what's funny is it is actually legit. I mean, I know there's so many memes surrounding Fortnite because of just the fact of it's the fun factor of it's just stupid. But I think that's what makes it fun. However, they do have a lot of innovation because we're talking about like artists who have personas. I think another one of those is Ariana Grande, and she was one of the first concerts that was in Fortnite. And she has like a space girl persona that she does a lot of stuff with, which is, it sounds weird, but I'm like, yeah, it fits. That's her type of music and stuff like that. And the like in-game concerts that they have are extremely crazy and weird and like fun, and it's actually impressive. And I'm like, wow. And this is all around her type of persona, obviously. Like, because I'm pretty sure another rap artist had something, like in game too. I forget who it was, but I think it's another young guy. But it's the same thing where their whole artist persona is like manifested in like the virtual world, and there's like this whole story about it as you're listening to the concert. And it's just like, wow, this is crazy. It's like, so, I mean, it can be interactive too, which I think is really cool. And so I think that's the next step that people are starting to get into is virtual concerts / how can we be a part of this music along with our favorite artists and not just like a watcher type situation.
And I think that's something that they get really right is that like, there's no point in playing Fortnite and watching a regular concert because a regular concert is something that I can experience in real life. And also I'm moving a little guy around and there's no way that I'm not going to be trying to stand on people's heads and doing little dances. I'm going to try to get up on the stage because why wouldn't I? I'm a horrible little goblin playing Fortnite, and during a Half-Life 2 conversation, I am going to be picking up computers and throwing them across the room while people are telling me important stuff.
I'm gonna try to hit the guy.
Yeah, that's just how it's gonna happen. And so their solution was like, well, let's do stuff that is wildly impossible, right? Let's not even try to be bound by the confines of reality. In the same way that I think Mario Kart is the best racing game, unironically, because they told gravity to go fuck itself. Oh, so many possibilities are opened up when you just stop trying to adhere to reality.
To be like realistic. I mean, and you got the realistic racing game. But that's not why people play Mario Kart. They don't play it for the realism. They play it because it's a good racing game, which you said, unironically, is like the best racing game. So
for me, like I'm sure that there's tons of good racing games that are realistic, but like that's never that core fantasy doesn't appeal to me. I want to be driving upside down through the walls of a haunted mansion, you know.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is I think this is a good thing to end on. Fortnite is getting into the racing business now. They're having their own racing game come out, which has the same type of Fortnite energy of, oh, you want to drive on the ceiling? You shift into the ceiling gear, and then you can just pop right up there. And
finally,
yeah, it's it's a mix of Rocket League and Fortnite, and they just said, yeah, why not? Sure. And people are apparently into it, so it's like, no, this is exactly what I wanted. If I want to have fun with my friends and it's like that Hot Wheels racing game, where
also
it's like,
very fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. So
disrespect
anyway,
gravity.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Gravity doesn't know what it's doing, so you need to take it. Fine, I'll do it myself.
So, before we wrap up, let's do a real quick. What are your top 3 fictional bands that we've talked about on this episode?
Oh, Powerline is 100%. One. Gorillas, and in terms of pure comedy, Sir Paid-A-Lot from the Proud Family.
What a good line. I didn't even think about the Boondocks. God, how many we got? Gangstalicious, Thugnificent.
Oh man, we didn't even think about the Beats from Doug.
Yep.
I kept skipping over it. I was like, nah, the Beats are so good.
Yeah, we got Wild Stallions from Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Also very funny.
Oh man. Oh. Okay. Well, I'm still gonna keep the ones I have, but I completely forgot about Thugnificent, which is also one of my all-time favorites. Thugnificent. Booty butt chicks.
You just mad because your ass is
so old. First thing you do is just pick up the phone. I know that whole song off heart.
Oh, I remember. We've done it.
Yeah, we've done it. Okay. Yeah, what's yours?
Wonderful. I like my number one has to be Death Clock. I would probably also pick Sex Bob-omb and Gorillas after that.
Oh, so Gorillas got double. Nice.
They're too good. Yeah. They're for real one of my favorite bands, and I just love their steez.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me, like, talking about like what makes a good fictional band, a big part of it is just the aesthetic and like the characters. I really love the caricatures of musicians that you see in these. And boy, Gorillaz is a really top tier.
Yeah, I think the art style definitely helps, like with the Gorillaz. You just don't see that art style really anywhere else unless people are trying to emulate them. But that's them. That's their art style.
Very distinctive.
Yeah, and it looks good. So
I love fake bands. I'm into it almost all of the time.
Fake musical acts, period.
Yep.
Yeah, and that just really makes me want to start talking about just musical soundtracks, but that's not why we're here.
I know. We'll talk about.
Oh yeah,
I don't even know how we would talk about soundtracks, because I would just be. Corey was being real mean to me on the phone the other day. We had
wasn't being mean.
We weren't recording. We were just talking on the phone, and Corey was just like, I was listening to a soundtrack, and I just kept hearing your voice float up, and it was just like, leitmotifs. Leitmotifs. It was like, no, shut up.
It couldn't help it. I just kept hearing him say, leitmotif. Leitmotif. I'm like, stop. Get out of my head. Leave me alone. Akira, no.
I just love structure. I love being able to pull it apart. I think it's so fun and cool.
No, it's fun, dude. I super appreciate the fact that you were in musicals more than me. And though you were, I never heard you sing before in my life. So that is funny. But
Not a good
and
singer.
yet I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm the one that's always singing tunes and stuff, but I haven't heard you sing one note, and it's disappointing.
Well, you've heard me sing lots of stuff now.
No, I have not.
That's a. I'm not gonna. You'll get that. This is
Do it.
This is
Do
for
it.
$50 patrons and above.
Do it. Do it.
If you have enjoyed this show and have enjoyed my cop out, please. Please give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, or wherever else podcasts are found. Word of mouth is the only way that we grow. So if you like the show, tell a friend.
Tell your mama.
Tell your mama. Tell your aunt who went to Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny. I have been
really
Adam
funny.
Bucherri. I'm an animator and game designer. You can find my tabletop games on bucherry.itch.io. Hey, Corey, you want to know what the newest thing that I've added to my itch.io page?
Uh-oh. What is it?
I wanted to play around a little bit in Godot, the game engine, the open source game engine. First of all, it's good. I decided to make a Fast and Furious bingo card generator.
Okay.
Hooray!
Good job. What an accomplishment.
So you can go and check that out for your next Fast and Furious marathon.
Yes. Which is now 10 strong. 10 strong.
Oh, and more than that. Plus one spinoff, plus one previous film by director Justin Lin, and also you gotta throw Speed Racer in there just for funsies.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of racing. Anyway, I have been Corey Revis, illustrator and comic creator. You can find me on Instagram at EARTHUR_ONE. That's Earther1. And also check out the Instagram for Halftone Takes. Just look up Halftone Takes on Instagram. Yeah. And we got stuff. I upload that stuff all the time. Stuff
Corey
there.
Makes
I'm going to
doodles for every episode, and it's one of my favorite things.
Yes, and also for this episode, which will be out in a couple weeks, I'm going to upload, some pictures. Then you can pick out which one is the scary one that we're going to make a standee of Adam. And you can buy it. That's going to be one of our merch.
It's going to be part of our Patreon tiers. You're going to be able to get a new giant standee of Adam every week in the mix.
A new one. Don't tempt people. Some people are crazy. They will do
What a good idea.
Yeah.
A subscription service that exclusively sends you cardboard standees of the same person.
In different poses.
Yes.
No, that might be too far. Like if we give you like a basic standee and then we just send you cardboard like clothes so you can play like dress up.
Oh, a giant dress up doll.
Yep. That might be too much. But maybe Adam will be into it.
That implies a baseline sexy Adam cardboard standee.
I got a picture for that too.
Everyone gets to enjoy.
Yes, it's gonna be good. So just check out the Instagram. It's fun, and also we have a YouTube. Go check out Halftone Takes on YouTube.
Yeah,
and look at and view our live stream. It was funny. Please, it was funny.
Please, it was funny.
It was funny, please.
Please, it was funny. I watched it all as part of,
I watched it all.
Just for funsies.
I watched it all.
And I was just like, yeah, this is pretty fun. I'm having a good time watching this. So
yeah, I still need to watch it all, to be fair. I've seen bits and pieces of it because it kept appearing on my timeline. And I'm like, get that cord out of my face. But yeah, I'm going to watch it. I just don't like looking at myself, but I'm gonna have to get used to it. So
I'm used to it at this point. Yeah,
I'm used to looking at you all the time. I'm used to it. I throw up in my mouth all the time, but it doesn't.
I like the taste of throwing up in my mouth.
Yeah.
I do it for fun. This sucks. Goodbye.
Goodbye.